Good afternoon to you. Mark Sutton with HurricaneTrack.com here with your Hurricane Pro and HD video blog for Monday, the 29th of September 2014. Take a look at sea surface temperature anomalies, warming things up in the tropical Pacific as that El Nino slowly but surely comes on. Some positive anomalies in the Atlantic, but it's probably not going to matter because the season seems to be really struggling, just like was predicted for this year. A lot of different things going on with instability not being where it should be to allow for development, very strong upper level winds, a lot of different things going on to keep a big old lid on development for the Atlantic. Instead, this is the region that has been the hot spot this year. Earlier in the season it was out here towards the central Pacific, you remember that, and slowly but surely even the Pacific will start to wind down. This is a look at the subsurface for the El Nino. This is the surface of the ocean. This is several hundred meters deep, and you can have this sort of cross section showing all these positive anomalies down below that are going to be moving up towards the surface, and then they spread out across, warming the tropical Pacific, and that's what we're seeing right here. This is the area that we're looking at in a cross section below the ocean, kind of like a CAT scan. So the El Nino will probably come on by the winter, make for some interesting wintertime antics weather-wise for the lower 48, and then we'll see what happens if this dissipates in time for next year's hurricane season. Looking at actual sea surface temperatures, the northern Gulf Coast starting to cool off as fall is here, and you have fronts coming down, cooler temperatures, less incoming solar radiation because the sun angle is getting lower in the sky. So the water temperatures up here along the shelf waters cooling. Very warm water though in the southern Gulf and certainly parts of the Caribbean, but nothing to take advantage of it in the foreseeable future. In the Atlantic, boy, the Gulf Stream very, very prominent here. Warm water for sure. Right along the coast though, especially the Carolinas northward, cooling off pretty quickly. The South Carolina low country and down around Florida still nice and warm. If you want to go into the ocean for some swimming, you can still do that. In the Atlantic, nothing going on to speak of. I'll show you real quick. There was this one little low pressure area to the west of Bermuda that actually came, it had its origins from this little wave of energy that came up, a little nor'easter kind of deal that came back down and had tried to gain some tropical, subtropical characteristics. It's over very warm water, so you did have some convective processes going on, but you can see it's still attached to a front for the most part, that curlicue. So it's more of a mid-latitude hybrid type storm. It's not really tropical, it's not subtropical. It kind of falls between the cracks, but what it is doing is bringing some inclement weather to Bermuda, which is right there, and this will slowly move away with time and not really be of any factor. Now in the eastern Pacific we still have Tropical Storm Rachel, but it is going to be moving on away and dying out as it bends off to the southwest there. Then over near the coast of Mexico, we do have to watch this area right here. 80% chance now of development over the next 5 days. And you can see the potential development and track area. Should stay south of the mainland portion of Mexico. Computer models for the most part agree with that. And that's good news. Obviously, you don't need any flooding rain concerns. If it's large enough, it could have some outer rain bands, especially as it gets closer. I mean, we'll see. This is several days out. Something to keep an eye on, but not a direct threat to Mexico, and at least not yet to the Baja here, where Hurricane Odile gave quite a lashing recently. So the Atlantic Basin, nice and quiet as we get through the week ahead here. I don't see anything in the global models that leads me to believe anything will be forming anytime soon. And so it looks like we will head into October without anything to worry about. Now, October can be a very busy month. Doesn't mean it has to be. It just means that it can be. And we'll see what happens. But like I said, nothing showing up in the global models, especially the very reliable ECMWF, or the Euro as people call it. It's showing virtually nothing going on to speak of. Maybe by mid-month, when we get this secondary climatological bump, the Euro kind of showing a lowering of pressures in the southwest Atlantic or the Caribbean, but that's something a couple of weeks away. For this week, things look fantastic. All right, well, that is it from me for today. Again, I'm Mark Sudduth for HurricaneTrack.com, my website. Check it out sometime if you haven't already. And for Hurricane Pro in HD, always a pleasure to do these updates for you. Have a good week ahead. I'll talk to you again next Monday.